We've been in a kind of interesting housing market for a little while now. Buyers are taking longer to find the perfect place, and sellers are nervous about dropping values. And once you get under contract, the battle isn't over. There's a lot of stuff to get done, including like negotiations, coordinating paperwork, connecting vendors, scheduling things. But there's always the chance that the whole thing is gonna fall apart during an inspection. Of the I think 85 people that I've helped while running my own business, only 4 transactions have fallen apart during the inspection period. When helping people buy a house, I like to use this approximately week-long period to help them reaffirm the purchase, recenter emotionally, and do as much due diligence as possible. We'll usually try and get the seller to cover as much as possible and as is reasonable. Oftentimes I can get them to cover closing costs or fix a major project that's wrong with the house. And 3 of those 4 failed purchases have been in the past couple months, which I think is really telling of the market that we're in. My mind is really stuck on yard work these days, so I'm gonna put together a couple planter boxes while I tell you a few stories. I was helping someone buy a house in North Beach, and the roof was, it wasn't outright leaking, but there was some moisture coming through, and it was an old roof, and it definitely needed to be replaced. So this is one of the ones where things just completely fell apart during negotiations. We got a roofer out to give us a quote, and it was gonna be, I think it was like $25,000 to replace the roof. And the seller only came back saying they would cover $15,000 of that. And this house has been on the market for a really long time. We all just kind of got fed up because these sellers had been really hard to work with so far, and we ended up just walking away because there were tons of other projects to do, and this one just kind of pushed things over the edge. Another recent one that fell apart was this house with an old sewer line, and we got a sewer scope and everything looked pretty good. It was clean, no breaks, but it was a sewer line from the 1940s, and there was this really severe bend in the sewer line, and the plumber could not get the camera around this bend. I called a couple different guys that came out and tried. So while everything looked good, we couldn't see the final half of the sewer line. So it was just too big of a risk to take on, and we ended up walking away from that one. Okay, this is about as far as I can get to today because I have to go do my job. But one more story. I was helping someone buy a condo in Queen Anne. It was a pretty cool spot. Building itself looked really nice, but buying a condo is a little stressful because you have to both look at the building and also evaluate the HOA kind of like a business. You look at financial statements, meeting minutes. There's something that's required by law. Every HOA has to conduct a reserve study, which looks at their bank accounts and if they're going to have enough money to cover big capital projects over the next 30 years. So this reserve study was a little rough. It was only 10% funded. There was like $60,000 in the bank. There was a big risk of getting a special assessment or like a big bill in a year or two, and it was just gonna be too much. It was too risky. So we ended up walking away from that one. We're previewing a house today in Shoreline, kind of near our house. I'm really liking it because of the curves, the views, and the 1980s vibes. So this one's really cool. It's in Richmond Beach. We're very close to the water. It's priced at $1,435,000, and I think I locked myself out.
Did you lock yourself out? There's 4 bedrooms and they're all downstairs, so that leaves you the view for upstairs. We'll show you the primary bedroom, which does have a view down here. I think I would probably bust out the windows just to make them bigger. You get these glimpses of the Puget Sound, and this could be absolutely stunning. And then you have your family guest bathroom here, and there's 3 more bedrooms down here on the first level, but then upstairs. These curves, this is something you see a lot. We just toured another home from the 80s, and there's just curves everywhere. And I love a sunken living room. Look at this. with your little wood burning stove. This is so nice. Kitchen, nice layout. You can pretty much see the Puget Sound from every spot you're working. And then, are you gonna put this on camera? This could be embarrassing. This is very unique. Okay, fast forward through this. This would be Seeley's hangout. Oh, the views are even better up here. Get the water, you have to walk down the chain.
All right, so we're in Richmond Beach coffee shop. Is that what it's called?
Richmond Beach Cafe, which I've driven by a million times but never stopped in.
It's all right. We just finished Lent, where we gave up all desserts. So we actually didn't get dessert. I came here trying to get a dessert.
They have breakfast wraps, which to me sounds like a breakfast burrito.
We're at the University of Washington to check out the cherry blossoms. We're a little late this year, just mostly because it's been raining for like 2 weeks straight. But here's a haiku to get us in the mood. City streets hustle, cherry blossoms stillness brings. A moment to breathe.
I don't like my framing.
The trees came here in 1912 from the government of Japan. It was a gift to the city of Seattle. They were originally planted in the Arboretum, but in the 30s they moved them to the University of Washington campus.
No, this is not the moment.
Seeley's not loving it. Last year it was kind of perfect. The sun was out. There were so many people here. Seeley was 6 months old. It was magical.
You're a little grumpy. 1.5-year-old.
Grumpy.
I don't have a mic good.
This is the microphone.
Oh.
I think I like these trees so much because they contrast really well with the harsh landscape of the city that they're situated in. It's a nice contrast. Is it open? So I didn't get the end of my planter box project on camera, but it's finished. At least one. I think I'm going to try and build a second box right here next to it, just to fill up this space. I like it. It's nice. I'm going to eventually put some, vegetables. This is a good spot. It gets lots of sun, so it'll be good for some vegetables. It's always a little bit hard to know when we're in a buyer's or seller's market in these, like transition seasons in the fall and in the spring, because there's no like one good catch-all metric that says it.
Seeley's been napping for 3.5 hours. Should we wake her up?
Yeah.
You're becoming insane.
Yeah. So I really like watching the relationship between supply and demand. It's not a perfect metric, but it's pretty good. So when there's more listings than there are sales, then we're in a buyer's market and you can get concessions and prices come down. And we're pretty close right now where, they're almost even. Both of them have been going up for a couple months. And I think next month we're gonna see this indicator flip where there's going to be more sales than there are listings. But anyways, the point is that we're starting to see it go back to a seller's market where you have to bid up, you have to waive contingencies. And I think it's just gonna continue as we go through the springtime. Okay, while I love going to check out the cherry blossoms, it always makes me self-conscious because my cherry trees are not that pretty. My cherry trees aren't blooming yet. My cherry trees aren't as perfectly pruned. We live in a cul-de-sac, so it's fun to have kids around playing, and Seeley joins often. But these are my trees. You can see they're not quite ready. I think they're gonna bloom in a little bit, but I did prune them like a month ago maybe, and I'm a little worried that that's gonna cause them to not bloom, but I don't know very much about gardening, so that could all be wrong. Anyways, that's it for now. If you're looking to make a home in Seattle, send me a message or just stay tuned for more housing and design content from my home in Seattle. Bye.